Hey everyone, I'm Chaitanya and welcome back to the Ruventure channel. Today I'll be talking about the most frequently asked question on my Instagram, and that is what device or tool do I use to do my digital illustrations. So the short answer is that I'm using the iPad Pro 2020 since the last 2 to 3 weeks, and I'll be reviewing it today from the perspective of an artist. I'll be going over the things I love about it, and also I'll be talking about the things that I wish are improved probably in the next iteration of the hardware or probably via software patch. You'll find a lot of reviews online about this iPad, which will be mostly going into the technical aspects of it and the specifications and stuff like that. I'll be kind of touching those aspects also, but primarily I'll be talking about it from the perspective of an artist who uses this regularly for drawing and painting. So the reason I chose to buy this was that it is the best tablet for drawing that I have used in the last 12 years of using different graphics tablets, and it's a great combination of the right kind of software and hardware coming together to give this experience. One of the most appealing things for me for using an iPad as my drawing tablet is that I'm no longer chained to my desk and I can take it with me absolutely anywhere and I can keep drawing with it.
Hey, not there!
So all the iPads that are available from Apple currently in the market, all of them kind of give the same experience in terms of drawing, but it's just that the iPad Pro does few things much better, and that takes that experience from 90 to 80% to about 100% in my opinion. Some of the aspects that one should be looking for when getting a drawing tablet are pressure sensitivity, tilt sensitivity, the response time of say you draw a line and how quickly it appears on the screen, the accuracy of the colors on the screen, and probably the options available in terms of the software for drawing with the said hardware. The pressure sensitivity has been implemented extremely well, and it takes a very tiny amount of force to do a quick and light stroke on the screen. The tilt sensitivity also works fantastic, and if you are using a brush like the 6B pencil and tilt while doing the stroke, then the effect you get out of it is exactly like the one you'll get when using a 6B traditional pencil on a piece of paper. The display here is color accurate and shows P3 color gamut. So the color gamut is a range of colors a screen can show, and P3 gives a much wider range of colors than the common sRGB standard that is available on most color accurate monitors. A few years ago, even getting a sRGB display on a drawing tablet would have been a dream come true, and P3 just goes way beyond that. Now coming to the aspect of response time on the iPad Pro, it is blazing fast at it, and I have never seen lag in between me doing a brush stroke with the Apple Pencil and it appearing on the screen. Now that is because of the hardware and the great integration between the hardware and the software. So the processor on this thing is really fast. It's probably faster than a lot of laptops out there. And the display it comes with is not only color accurate but is also really fast. It has a very high refresh rate, that is 120 Hz. It really leaves no chance for lag to creep in. The stylus here, that is the Apple Pencil 2, has been engineered really well in the sense that it communicates with the iPad in a really fast way. So there is absolutely no way of lag creeping in that way as well. And the last reason why the Apple Pencil is so responsive with the iPad Pro is the applications and the integration with the operating system. So this app Procreate is the one that I use every day for drawing and painting, and this is the app I have installed right on day one on getting this, and I really haven't found the need to go looking for another app to do the things that it does. It's blazingly fast, it offers all the features, and they have kept the developer team at Savage, the people who develop Procreate, is brilliant at what they do. They have constantly been bringing great new features for digital artists like me. So in the beginning I mentioned 5 aspects that I really look for in a tablet, but I completely forgot about one, that is the lack of parallax. A lot of drawing tablets suffer from this issue of parallax. It's generally there's a gap in between the screen surface and the actual display underneath, and when drawing on it, it feels that the line is appearing slightly away from where we are drawing it. It depends on the angle that we are looking at, of course. And the iPad Pro does not have this issue, but the base model iPad does, and it's one of the features that distinguishes the iPad Pro and Air from the basic iPad model. So talking about the next aspect of the iPad Pro, the Apple Pencil. So it does not come with the iPad Pro, you have to buy it separately. In terms of dollars, it comes for $130, but it is an essential part of the iPad Pro experience if you are looking at it from an artist point of view. So it has been redesigned from the last generation. So if you have seen the iPad Pro from 2018, then it also looked kind of the same, and it also had compatibility with this pencil they introduced at that time. So for me it is new because I have been using this Apple Pencil earlier, and like you see, it has been redesigned. It is much lighter now, not much lighter but kind of lighter now, but that doesn't feel very different. But now it has this flat edge compared to this round finish here, and that really helps in keeping this attached to the Apple Pencil via magnets. The magnets are really strong, so it's not going to fall off just like that. In fact, even if you move it, it's going to stay stably attached to it. Apart from that, you might have noticed a pop-up appear right here when I attach it. So it pairs and also charges while it is attached to the iPad. So that is a really good thing, especially compared to the earlier generation of Apple Pencil. So there are no magnets here, so you have to safely store it. So I've been using a case for this, and the way it charges is really kind of silly, in the sense that you have to remove this gap at the back. I have almost lost this a couple of times, so you have to be careful of that. Then you have to plug it inside the lightning port at the bottom, and then you have to hope that you don't really bump into this. You don't know how many times I have lost my peace of mind thinking that I might just crack this thing open just by putting up force on this side while keeping it somewhat on the edge of the table. So another feature of the Apple Pencil 2 is this invisible touch sensitive button on the side. It is invisible, and that's a really good thing, that it does not look weird and unnatural on a pencil that really does look like a pencil otherwise. And that's the genius of Apple's engineering, that it looks really tastefully done. So the thing is that it has this button that you can just double tap, and it need not be on the flat edge of the pencil, it can be any side. If you just double tap, you can see the function of the pencil changes from a brush to an eraser, and that's really useful. It seems that I have this tendency of gripping the pencil, readjusting my grip on the pencil every now and then, and that was doing these accidental triggers when in the middle of a stroke I would just readjust my grip, and then it would quickly change the functionality to an eraser, and then instead of doing my next stroke, my pencil is erasing what I just did, and that was a big hassle. But fortunately, Apple does provide a workaround for this, and in the settings menu there is this Apple Pencil, and you can go inside and you can switch the behavior to switch between the eraser and the current tool, or the current tool and the last used tool, or a completely different feature like the color palette, or switch it off. So currently I have been using it while off until I get a hang of it and start using it without really re-gripping it and causing accidental triggers. Now moving on to the next important thing about the iPad Pro, and that is the memory or the RAM. This is an aspect of the iPad that has always been overlooked by most people, because they look at the iPad as a content consumption device, like a machine to just watch YouTube or Netflix, or just scroll some news or read a book or something like that. But from an artist's point of view, the RAM or the memory on the iPad is extremely important. The 2020 iPad Pro model is the very first iPad Pro that comes with 6GB of RAM instead of 4GB that has traditionally been in all iPad Pros till now. There is one exception of the 1TB model in the previous generation, which did come with 6GB of RAM, but then I think according to the developers of Procreate, only about 4GB was available or accessible to the developers, and they could make only use of that much earlier. But now this is the first iPad Pro that unlocks the amount of layers that Procreate can do or give us as artists, and that's a big deal for me. Like, it's a thing that I got really excited about when I got to know about it. So let me quickly show you the difference that these additional 2GB of RAM makes in terms of the experience of an artist. So here I have both these iPads, the iPad Pro 10.5 that I have been using for a year now, and this is the latest model that I just recently got. So I have set up the same size canvas in both these cases. It's a 4000 by 4000 pixel canvas, and the DPI that I've set is also 300 and 300 here. You'll notice that the maximum number of layers that Procreate allows on this model, which has 4 GB RAM, is 29, and here this has 6 GB of RAM. It allows 37 layers. So this makes a huge difference for a professional that creates really complex works in Procreate. Another interesting feature on the iPad Pro since the last generation is the addition of the USB-C port instead of the Lightning port that is found on the older iPad Pros and other iPads in the current Apple lineup. The USB-C port supports much higher data transfer speeds, and now with iOS 13 you can connect an external hard disk drive, a pen drive or a SSD and transfer files back and forth like a computer. You can also connect a keyboard and a mouse through this same port and use it like a regular laptop. So let me get to the next aspect of this model, that is the increase in storage. The previous generation of iPad Pro used to come with 64 GB at the baseline. Now this comes with 128 GB, and if you ever felt short of storing files on your laptop or your hard disk, you'll know the pain of trying to compromise with your storage. So if you're using this iPad Pro only for say drawing or painting, 64 GB is more than enough. That is what I've been using on my 10.5 inch model, and it's really plenty. And this 128 GB coming at a baseline model, that is really a big deal. Even if you are going to bump up to say 256 GB or the 512 GB model, like I've gone for the 256 GB model in this case, that has also got $50 cheaper than the previous models at same stage in the lineup. So that is a big deal. One standout feature on this device is that it has got quad speakers on board, 2 on each side of the iPad Pro, and they give a phenomenal sound experience. If you're planning to watch a movie or watch some videos on YouTube or just listen to some music, the experience is just amazing. A feature that has been introduced into the iPad Pro with this model is that it has got 4 microphones on board. Apple calls them studio mics, and the name is justified when you listen to what these mics can record. The clarity and the presence of bass is outstanding. There are very few consumer devices on the market that can record sound with this good quality. Lastly, let me talk about the cameras on this device. The 2020 iPad Pro introduces more than one camera for the first time. The regular wide-angle camera is useful to take quick snaps of say a sketch that you do and import it into Procreate and work on it further. The ultra-wide camera is useful for photographing in tight spaces, and the LiDAR sensor at the back is really good say for some AR applications, but I'm yet to explore this aspect. Both the rear cameras are capable of recording 4K in up to 60 FPS. On the front of the iPad there's a Face ID camera and sensor for unlocking the iPad, and there's another camera for video calls and such. Now that I have talked about all the things I love about this, I want to touch a bit on the 2 things that I have noticed that kind of annoy me a lot. One of the problems is that some of the apps cache a lot of the external files that are imported into these apps, and over a period of time they keep growing and growing. And unlike Android, iPadOS does not give an option to forcibly clear the cache. In such cases, the only option is to delete the entire app and reinstall it, and that is cumbersome. I really hope that the app developers and Apple come to a solution to fix this problem. The other issue I'm facing is that the USB-C port on the iPad Pro is capable of USB 3.1 Gen 2 speeds, but at best I'm getting are USB 3 speeds. And when you have such a capable port, you kind of expect the performance it should be giving you, and that's kind of a downer. So that covers all the important aspects of the iPad Pro 2020 from an artist perspective. But before ending the video, I want to talk about something important. How much ever amazing and high-tech this is simply a tool. It is as much as a tool as a pencil or a paper or brush and canvas. So it is in no way a replacement for study and observation and development of your skills to make good art. And lastly, I know that the iPad Pro is a very expensive device, and I know that a lot of people want to do digital art but might not have the budget to spend on something like this. So if you are in this place and want to know about more other kind of tablets that might be of use to you, let me know down in the comments. I might do a video about something like that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Do hit like, do subscribe to our channel, and we'll be coming back again with a lot more art videos as usual very soon. So I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye bye.